Start with your anchor and setting up this boat at anchor. Anytime you want to anchor your boat, you need to turn into the wind, and you're going to set your anchor down and then tie it off to the cleat. Once it touches the bottom, I would let out an extra span of 20 feet or so of line. I would take this, I would wrap it around your cleat a couple times, and then I would make a half hitch underneath and let it bite. Do that twice, and your anchor will be locked in place. This trash can right here is meant to put all these ropes in place back inside nice and neat, so it doesn't go underneath your boat when you're running and get stuck in your propeller. Anytime you are not at anchor, put everything back in this box. Additionally, no bow riding. The number one accident, injury, or death is someone sitting on the front of this boat and they fall over the front and they get picked up by a turning and operating propeller. Don't do it. Under these seats right here is where your life jackets are located, and they flip like this. You also have a throwable. If someone is drifting away from this boat that is out there swimming, it's Coast Guard approved, and throw it to them so they don't drift away or drown. Everything you need illegally be on this boat is located inside of this box. You have a marine radio and a first aid kit. If you have a headache today, take an aspirin. If you have a life and death emergency, turn your radio on. There's a red button located by my pointer finger. Hold it down, channel 16 is the Coast Guard. You also have all your paperwork, registration, flares, whistles inside of this box. If you get pulled over, hand it to whoever's pulling you over and they will know what to do with it. We've also added a knife in this box. If you accidentally run something over today, turn your engine off, trim your motor out of the water, and cut whatever's out of your prop to get going again. Right here, you have more life jackets under your seats. Your fire extinguisher is located right here. And on the back of this boat, your doors lift up and down, and you have a swim ladder. Anybody that is swimming today, turn the key off so the motor is not in operation, and no one gets hurt while swimming around a motor that could potentially be running. I'm going to teach you a little bit about the operation of this boat. First things first, this is a kill switch. If this gets removed today, your boat will not start. The idea is you're supposed to be wearing the other end of this right here on your wrist while you're operating the boat. If you were to fall over this boat while driving, it would unplug and your boat would turn off. If this is removed and you try to start your boat, it will beep at you. If you hear that beep at any other time during this rental, turn your boat off, trim your motor out of the water, and get whatever's out of the prop because it is telling you you are overheating. This button right here is called your trim and tilt. The only time you need to use this button is when you want to trim your motor out of the water. If you hold it down, your motor comes up out of the water. Your motor is water cooled and needs to be in the water while it's running. To trim it in the water as follows, you hold down on this button until it gets back in the water. This right here is your neutral position. Your boat will not start unless it's in neutral. It will not start if you remove the kill switch. The motor needs to be in the water while it's running. Once you've completed all three, turn the key. Once it's running, water will start coming out of the engine. That's called a telltale. If you do not see water coming out of the engine, you have a problem. Most likely, you're overheating. Turn your engine off, trim it up, and get whatever's out of your engine, out of the prop. If you try to start your boat and it's not in neutral, nothing will happen. As long as it's in neutral, it starts. Anything from this position of neutral to here is in gear. Anything past that is acceleration. You go back to neutral, and then you have a reverse. Anything beyond that is reverse acceleration. On your dash, you have a tachometer. Before shifting in and out of gears, you want to let your RPMs come down below 1,000. This is your voltmeter. and you have a full tank of gas. This accessory switch right here is to charge your phone, located here. You have this switch with music on it, that's for your radio. You can turn it on, hit the source button until you find Boss Audio on your phone, and you can connect via Bluetooth and get on your Justin Bieber and Taylor Swift. This radar switch is for your navigation equipment. Turn up the switch, hold down the power source, and we will explain this shortly. These two switches right here are for running lights. They are only for operation before sunrise and after sunset. If you're not operating in those times, leave them down. I'm going to begin by explaining the navigation system equipped on your boat. It works as follows. The top left number on your screen indicates the depth of the water beneath your boat. Currently, this boat is in 14.6 feet of water. You will be this triangle that you see on the screen. It will follow you wherever you go and help you navigate on your voyage. You will be leaving a red line, as is shown, wherever you go. Anytime you touch this screen and you leave two lines, known as a cursor, it will no longer follow you where you are going. Always touch this button here where it says clear cursor and clear it. Again, if you touch the screen, you always want to clear your cursor. What happens is if you're looking ahead, you often leave the two lines, or if you're zooming in or zooming out, you'll leave a cursor. So always clear it. Anytime it says restore cursor, the system is functioning properly. All the yellow lines left on this screen is where this boat has been and never incurred a problem. As long as you were staying on one of these yellow lines or in the area with a yellow line, you will be in safe operation for this vessel. What are all the numbers that I see on the screen outside of these yellow lines or inside of it, such as the 2s, 3s, 4s? That is approximate depth of the water before you reach there. For instance, it's about 3 feet of water there and about 2 feet there. The number in the bottom left corner is the volt supply of this boat. The number right here that says miles per hour is the speed the boat is traveling at the present time. The number located right here that says water temp is the temperature of the water. Currently it is 78.3 degrees. If you plan to travel in the direction of Kipta State Park or the Chesapeake Bay Bridge Tunnel, we added stop signs along the edge of the shallow water, along the sandbar, to help you avoid encountering shallow water and getting stuck on a sandbar. The skull and crossbones are indicating shallow water. If you look in there, I see one. That is 1 foot of water anticipated. As you travel southbound from Cape Charles Harbor, you can see the yellow lines are on the outside of the stop signs, and there's numbers such as 21 indicating it's 21 feet deep, and also there's 0s and 1s indicating there is no water in that area in there. If you come around the point at Bay Ridge, 3 miles from Cape Charles Harbor, and you reach Kipta Beach, you will see the concrete ships located here about a 1/16 of a mile from the shore. On the north side of the beach at Kipta Peak is a swimming area. They do not want your boat in the swimming area. On the south side of the beach, you have pretty deep water, and it's a nice place to anchor up and go swimming. The hazards you can encounter while traveling to Kipta Peak or south of the Cape Charles Harbor would be running into a commercial fishing net, running over seagrass, or encountering shallow water if you're near the beach on a sandbar. By no means are we prohibiting people from anchoring on a sandbar and going swimming. We're asking you to proceed with caution when you are in shallow water and read the depth of your depth finder and pay attention to the tides. The water in the Chesapeake Bay is open and exposed to almost all weather conditions. There is no protection from wind. If you plan on heading north in the north direction of Cape Charles Harbor and you're seeking calm water inlets such as Cherrystone Inlet or Kings Creek, you need to use your navigation system. The water is navigable. There are lots of hazards in that area. You can see we've laid out the road on the yellow lines to get to those areas, Kings Creek and Cherrystone Inlet, with the navigation system. We even put stars on the main path or road to get there. What are all the skull and crossbones on this screen, and why are there so many stop signs? The skull and crossbones on this screen are indicating commercial oyster farms or metal structures known as oyster cages. If you end up on top of some guy's commercial metal oyster cage, it is significant. You do not want that to happen. If you're going to be traveling in this direction, you need to pay attention and you need to use the navigation to get there. Inside of Kings Creek is a marina called the Oyster Farm. It's a beautiful place to visit inside of this creek. However, it is navigable. Please stay on the yellow lines and proceed with caution if you attempt to go outside of the stop signs. The skull and crossbones is typically indicating there's oyster cages in the area, meaning metal wire in the water. If you're traveling further north from Kings Creek, you need to cut through the channel along the shoreline. Cherrystone Campground is shown here where I'm pointing, and there's a nice sandbar that people like to visit out front of Cherrystone Campground where we put the swimmer icons. If you turn inside and go up Cherrystone Inlet, there's a lot of protection in this inlet from the wind. There's deep water in the middle of the inlet, 14, 10, and so on. Please stay on the yellow lines and navigate and pay attention as you travel. Where the skull and crossbones are outside of the stop signs is metal wire and oyster cages. It can lead to a disabled vessel. If you're not fully aware and understanding of how to use this navigation equipment, please let one of the members of our staff know and we will assist you. Most important thing that people seem to run into with troubles is they forget to hit the clear cursor button. That brings it back to you. Again, you are the triangle. Follow the yellow lines for safe boating today. If you plan on fishing today and you wish to use the sonar or downscan options, select this button on the top right. If you click on chart is your navigation option. If you select this button again, you have sonar. If you press this button again, you can go to downscan. If you press this button again, you can get side scan. If you press it again, you can go back to charts. hope this video has been helpful, and we hope you have a great time out on the Chesapeake Bay.